Welcome to the video on what's expected from you in Digital Design 2 for week 2 of our remote learning. And this is if you're keeping on track with learning all of the content of the course. What we're going to do this week is our goal is to get you into Codecademy, which is a website that provides interactive lessons for you to learn the basics of JavaScript. This week, you're going to be learning the basic level of JavaScript, including variables, as well as conditionals and functions. And I will have additional videos to help you with walkthroughs and those kinds of things. And I'll also be available online if you need assistance. You can connect with me at any time. So we're looking at Unit 1, which includes Introduction to JavaScript Interactive Lessons, which has about 10 lessons overall. And when I say lessons, they're not like super long. They're just these interactive, nice little lessons. And you get to code inside of it, and it gives you feedback and spits out the information that you're creating. And then we're going to have variables as well. There's going to be an assignment walkthrough called the tax calculator coming in just the next couple days. I got to record the video, but I have it created and ready to roll. And then you're going to have second unit of conditionals, which has about 11 lessons overall inside of Codecademy. And then unit 3 on functions, which has 11 lessons. And then at that point, you should be able to make a rock, paper, scissors game online for people to play. So what's really important to remember as you're learning through JavaScript is it's going to have to make you recall back some HTML and some CSS. And then in the same sense, you're just creating interactivity on your website. So instead of your website being static and links being the only thing that people can click on or videos for people to be able to watch, you now have like buttons that people can click and things pop up on the screen and there's animation and those kinds of things. That's all JavaScript on the back end telling the computer what to do when you click on said button. So that's what we're adding into here. So it's going to start out a little not pretty, not exciting, because we're just trying to get the computer to spit out things to the user and make it so that when they do something, the computer does something back and gives output to them. So just stick with it. It gets better along the way, and then it integrates straight into our Bootstrap and our HTML and our CSS. So first things first is you need to create your Codecademy account. Your Codecademy account, you just go to Codecademy and it's one word. So note that there's no A right here. It's codecademy.com. And once you go into Codecademy, you can create your account on the page, homepage, and you can even use your school Google account by clicking at the bottom down here. You're then going to go ahead and choose Catalog up at the top once you're logged in and have created your account. And then once you go to the catalog page, up at the top under languages, you should be able to choose JavaScript. Once you're in the JavaScript section, you should have a course listed in there called Introduction to JavaScript, and that's the one you're looking for. You then go in and it'll bring you to a screen and you have a start button up at the top and you can walk through all the different pieces of the unit. You don't need the pro version of Codecademy, so don't pay for it, don't sign up for it. You have other times you can sign up for that later, but don't need to pay for it. You can just use the basic account. Once you're in Codecademy, Unit 1 is going to look like this. You have Introduction to JavaScript, which has these 10 lessons in it, taking you through like what the console is, which is pretty much how the computer brings stuff in and spits stuff out with inputs and outputs. And then how to work with math inside of here. And when I say math, I don't mean like high-level math. I mean like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, things we've been using in HTML and CSS anyway, which if you think about, we use it a lot when we're determining like heights and widths and all those kinds of things. And then how to take strings and put them together. And what strings are text. So how do you take text and then how do you take numbers and put them together so that they can be used together? And concatenation is just to combine. And then you're going to go through and create methods and use built-in objects to be able to take that data and do stuff with it to spit out information to the user. Then you'll learn how to create a variable. A variable works exactly like it does inside math. So when you say, you know, I have $7 to start with, I spend $2 of it, I'm solving for X. So you have X, which is the variable, but now we're talking about bringing a variable in so that way when you take in data from the user, it assigns the value to the user's to the variable for that user and then uses it again. So for instance, you do this a lot in conversation. You say, what's your name? And when somebody says, my name is John, you then say, okay, John, great. You've essentially just created a variable. Name is the variable. John is the current value of that variable. And you are using John as that variable over and over again. And as you continue in your conversation, you would keep calling that person John, hopefully, if you remember their name. So that's creating a variable essentially. And so it kind of goes through, how do you take something that the user gives you through like a form box, like when you sign up for an account, keep that as a variable and then use it again later on. So that's a basic introduction to variables, but that will go through how to use them and then how to use them in the math section as well. You're then going to get into conditional statements, like if the user clicks a button, then do this. If they don't, then do this. So you have these Boolean logic questions that the computer is asking. And you've done this already without even knowing it by coding through HTML and CSS, because your user is interacting with your computer. When they click on a link, then go do this. You've been doing it, but you haven't been doing it in the sense of, if they do this, have the computer do this after that. If they don't, then else would be this. So, those kind of statements, and it'll go through, and again, I can assist you and help you through those types of things as much as you need. The next one is going to be functions, which is going to have you go through like a different calling upon a function, creating a function to run. And what that means is like a set of instructions. So when the user clicks this button, go run this set of instructions and do these 7 things. A great example of this, and it has nothing to do with JavaScript, is like I was using my son's Alexa Glow this morning. So when it reaches 1:30 p.m., my son's Alexa Glow is supposed to turn bright red, go to 100% brightness, and play a sound, because that means that he's allowed to leave his bedroom after his quiet playtime. So we have that as a set of commands. It's a function that occurs when it reaches 1:30 p.m. So that's essentially what a function is. It's you saying, I have this set of instructions I want to run through at this specific time. And that's what you're creating when you're creating a function. After you're done with that, you're going to create a tax calculator. And I'm going to have a walkthrough video where I actually go through and reiterate the things and explain further what's not in the Codecademy program. So essentially, this is what it's going to look like on the web page. You're going to calculate your bill tax. Person can put in how much their bill was, and then we hit calculate it, and it tells us what the total is going to be with the tax added. So you have that as an option. That's a quick little JavaScript situation where you hit calculate and it calculates it and shows it out to you. And I'm going to walk you through that. So that should be showing up in a couple days, probably by tomorrow. Then at the end of the unit for this week, you should be able to make a rock, paper, scissors game. I have a walkthrough for this. I have hints for this, everything you would need, and I have a video walkthrough from Codecademy. So I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going to have all the resources for you to be able to walk through this and find your errors. And again, I'm available online.